Hey, this is Amanda Hammett, and this is the Millennial Rockstar Podcast.
Hey, this is Amanda Hammett, and I'm the host of the Millennial Rockstar Podcast. And if you're looking at this podcast today, you'll notice that things are a little bit different than what you normally see. And they're different for a few reasons. First and foremost, you'll see that I'm not in my normal studio office because I'm at the office of Veeam Software, who employs my two, you heard that right, not one, but two Millennial Rockstars. So help me welcome to today's show, Ashley Skews and Stephanie Gilbert. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I am so excited to have you guys here. I will be very honest with you. When I came up with the idea for the Millennial Rockstar Podcast, you guys were some of the very first people that popped in my mind.
Oh,
so I don't know if you remember, but about a year and a half ago, we met each other. You guys came to an event where I was speaking at a women's leadership networking event. Mm-hmm. And you guys were just standouts. The entire Veeam community, what'd you guys come with? 20 women from Veeam?
Yeah, about 20 of us.
2025.
You guys were standouts, and the community and the engagement that you guys had as employees just stood out in my mind. I secretly will admit to stalking Veeam online afterwards because I just thought it was so amazing what you guys were doing, so I knew I had to have you. So why don't you guys tell the audience a little bit about you guys? Let's start with you, Steph.
Sure. I was born in Tampa, and from Tampa moved to Roswell, Georgia, which is right around the corner from the Veeam office here in Alpharetta. I went to Georgia Southern University and originally studied psychology, and then decided that was not going to be my path and went marketing and business. And from there, went into the clothing industry for about 5 years, was an inside sales rep for a clothing industry, and then moved over to Veeam, and I've been here for about 5 years.
That is awesome. Now, what about you, Ashley?
Yeah, so I am originally from Ohio.
Okay.
I graduated from the Ohio State University. I actually went to school for sociology. Not because I knew that was a path that I wanted, but I knew I wanted to be in sales, and all I had to do was sell my degree. It didn't really matter what it was in. Okay. So I just went for something that I loved, and I was passionate about people and the study of people. So why not go through sociology, which I really enjoyed and loved that, but knew sales was what I was going to be. Veeam was actually my first job straight out of college. Only job I interviewed for after college, and I've been here ever since. So 8 years last month with Veeam.
Wow. Okay. Well, that is awesome. I love it. I love both of your stories. So tell me a little bit about. Well, let's take a different approach today since we're in a different place. Sure. So tell me what you love about Veeam.
I love the people. I love the collaboration that we have here. Our executive management team is phenomenal. They take time to sit with you no matter who you are. I mean, you could be fresh out of college in our entry-level position, or you could be, another executive. They take the time and get to know you, get to know your ideas, and it's one of those places where everyone has good ideas, and it's just now trying to figure out how we take all those good ideas and execute on them. So I'm just inspired by everyone that works here.
That's fantastic. What about you?
So people is definitely number one with Veeam, right? I knew for a fact we were going to have the same answer to that question because it's so true. But it's absolutely people, but also the innovation, right? Not only with our products and the innovation that we have with the products and making them for exactly what our customers are looking for and need, but also the innovation just as Veeam, how we kind of promote people within, how we, really work on the people that we have and their leadership skills and their skills on the phones and their skills on kind of selling our products. And how to work with the different communities that we work for and our alliance partners and our channel partners. So definitely the people and then the innovation of Veeam. It's just, trust me, when I started 8 years ago, it was not this. Right? When I started 8 years ago, we were in a different building. We had, when I walked in, my first job out of college, there was no cubes, no phones, nothing, no laptops. I walked in and I was like, what did I get myself into, right? So, but it's all worked. We've innovated, right? We've made it to what we need it to be to that next level, and we just can continue to keep taking it to those next levels. And it's just so exciting to be on that train, and I'm not getting off anytime soon.
That is awesome. So, all right, let's back up though. So you actually started at Georgia Southern, and so when you were graduating, take everybody back to
oh boy.
Take everybody back to Georgia Southern, and give us some ideas about when you were looking at your career. Have there been any reality checks from the Stephanie that graduated from Georgia Southern 10 years ago versus Stephanie today? What have been some of the reality checks of what you thought you were going to face in corporate America?
Let's see here. I'm going to make my parents proud with this one. No. Reality check. When I was graduating college, and I think a lot of people that come fresh out of college are like, oh, well, I can't wait to get that $80K a year job. I'm going to have all this flexibility, such an adult. I'm going to live in this high-rise apartment in downtown Atlanta. It's going to be fabulous, me and my fabulous life. And then getting out, I moved back in with my mom, which was fun. And then looked over like Monster, and that was when Monster was popular, and just going through all these things that needed all these years of experience. And I didn't have it. I didn't even know the first place to start. And so that, like, just having that kind of like overwhelming anxiety on how, like, where do I even start my career when everything seems like it was in the middle, and that if you didn't have at least 5 years, like you didn't have at least 3 years, so where do you start your professional jump, I guess, if you will. And so I had worked for a clothing manufacturer for inside sales, and learned a lot of great things from a lot of great people there. And then making my way over to Veeam, I mean, it's been amazing how much I've learned in the last 5 years. Really, I mean, the last 2 years from being a manager.
Yes.
So I guess, like, considering expectations versus reality, some of the things I think that I would, give to somebody that is about to graduate is never take any experience for less than what it is. Doesn't matter if it's a $10 an hour job or, your dream job and you're making that $80K that I wish I had made out of college. Take every single experience because it's going to apply in your future. So.
Absolutely. All right, same question for you, Ashley. What's up?
I was just laughing because
take it back to the Ohio State.
Take it back to the Ohio State. I remember when I was a bartender at Texas Roadhouse, and like what I would tell the bar guests of what I was going to do. Right? I knew for a fact I wanted to move to Georgia, but I promised my mom I would move home first to look for a job in Ohio. I didn't go on one interview. I didn't even apply anywhere, right? But I was going to look for a job.
Your mom's not going to watch this.
No, she knew. We just went shopping and had fun for 3 months, and then that date hit, and I moved to Georgia, and then started looking for a job. But I just, like Stephanie, just assumed that I was going to straight out of the gate be this rock star, making 6 figures, like within my first job. Like reality hit pretty fast, and luckily my mother is extremely successful in her career, and my brother's also in software as well. And I knew software was what I wanted to get in, so he kind of reality checked me a little bit. So I had that, but still, it's learning that money's great, and it's definitely what you want and what you want to strive for, but it's not the key to happiness. The key to happiness is being confident in what you're doing. And in order to be confident in what you're doing is to learning from everybody around you. I mean, when I was in ISA, which is our entry-level position, is where I started out here at Veeam, is, it's a grind. You have to make those cold calls and do all those type of things, and you have to have that mindset where it's only making me better for next year, for tomorrow, right? For looking down the future and knowing that all of that success comes, but you got to be good at what you do first.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's something that is very, because you're just invincible when you're in college, and you don't realize that like it takes a lot of hard work. It's like, why don't you want to pay me this? Why would we pay you this, right? Like, give me a reason why I should.
It's so worth it.
Yeah, I'm so worth it.
But it's hard to see the bigger picture without the experience.
Absolutely.
But, and that bigger picture comes with it.
Yeah, it comes with that experience, and just learning that it was humbling, and it took a minute. But once you learn that, and you just kind of put that on the back burner and be like, I'm gonna work my butt off, and One thing that I learned early on in my career, and I still try to do it, but there's a lot more on my plate now, but was like, never say it's not my job. Just do it. Do it and learn from it. And maybe it's not your job per se, but somebody else is looking and watching you do it. And that's something that I think, as you grow in your career, the more you do that, the more success that you're going to have, because you're learning all those different aspects.
That is a great little nugget there, Ashley. Very, very, very good.
I need a nugget.
You'll have one, I'm sure.
Okay, I'll work on my nugget over here.
We'll get you one. Don't you worry. All right, so tell us a little bit about, you both have mentioned something about hard work and about learning as you go. And I think that that's something incredibly, incredibly important. So tell us about what were some of those pieces that you learned early on that have made you successful today?
So I think, as cliche as it might sound, attitude is everything, right? And I've learned that from the time my mother owns a $4 million Tupperware franchise, right? And she's got all of these number 4 franchise in North America. Okay. And she is just crushing it, but she's always had that attitude, right? So I learned it from a very young age. Attitude is everything. And if you don't have the right attitude and that mindset, and everyone has off days. Don't get me wrong. We all do. I do for sure. And that's okay. Just understand that maybe today you need to close the books, but come back with a better attitude tomorrow. And I think that's one. Don't let the bad days get you down. Just help them, make them, it's a lesson in life, right? Yes. Why was it a bad day? What did I do? Was I not prepared enough for my day? Like, why did I not feel accomplished today? Ask those type of questions and have the right attitude towards it. I think is a huge cliche as it is. I think attitude is absolutely everything.
Sometimes cliches are cliches.
I know, right? I didn't make it up.
Fantastic. Well, what about you?
It's something that I tell my team all the time. Every single day, have a highlight. If there is nothing else, if you are coming in and you are checking a box, I came in, I woke up, I took a shower, I answered emails, I talked to my coworkers, I made X amount of dials, and then I went home. You checked a box, you fulfilled your duties of the day, but what did you do that made your job great? What fulfilled you that day? And I mean, I think some of that comes from a job that you're passionate about. But even if you're not in the job that you are currently passionate about, if you have that one highlight, you can take that to somebody else and say, hey, share what your highlight was for the day, and that might spark something in them to say, like, she's going to be great for this position one day, or we can prepare her for this, or have you thought about XYZ? Because great leaders should know and be able to identify strengths and where you might fit in the puzzle when you might not even see the puzzle.
Absolutely. That's a great point. I love that.
Nugget.
Yes.
Got one.
So since you kind of segued into this, and I think maybe you were just reading my mind, we'll say that. That's one of your skills.
Very talented.
So let's switch over a little bit to Veeam. Veeam has this incredible culture, and I'll just brag on you guys as a complete outside third party for just a second. As a company, one of the things that I noticed is that I'm brought into companies all over the world, and they bring me in and I audit them and I watch and I observe and I interview and I survey them and I just break them down. And one of the things that I noticed is that when you guys went to this luncheon, the group of 20 women went to this luncheon that Veeam sent you to, what I noticed is two things. You guys were, even though you were outside and it was a social event, you guys were playfully picking on each other, and it was all playful. It was all in good fun, and you could tell that the relationships were real. That was the first thing. But the second thing is, I always heard you guys laugh. There was a lot of laughter. And so whenever I'm walking around a company and I hear laughter coming from the cubicles, I know that we've got a good team.
Are you sure that's not lunacy?
Could be. There's a different type of laughter. Good point. No, this was fun laughter. And so I just wanted to take a moment and just point that out to you guys, that you guys have a good thing. What is it that Veeam does that keeps you guys productive, engaged, happy, laughing? What is it that they do?
I'd say there's a lot of collaboration. We have a lot of, whether it's going to be a team meeting, whether it's going to be a meeting of managers, whether it's just popping into somebody's office or their cubicle, bringing up ideas and sharing ideas. We have one of those cultures where it is something where people want to talk to each other and people want to share something, or they want to go out together for lunch or whatnot. But it is like that collaboration, I think, that really does bring that sense of community, and people here want to. They want to hang out after work. They want to travel together. They want to see their ideas come to fruition, but hear others' feedback. I would say that here we probably have a little bit of that thick skin. Maybe that's that natural sarcasm that we have. That's probably also part of the laughter. But we're a company that can handle constructive criticism and appreciates constructive criticism and then applies it. And I think that's probably one of the things that people learn to trust about each other, is that you're always going to get something from somebody here, and you can trust the people that you're working with.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. I love it. Yeah. I love it. What about you?
I think it's a very family. It's a Veeam family, right? Yes, it's a corporation. Yes, we're in the corporate world. All of that is true. Mm-hmm. But especially this office, and we are a Veeam family. We've all been together, a lot of us, for a very long time. And the new people that we're bringing on, it's not a stepsister. It's like, hey, come on, you're in here, right? Like, you are part of our family. Like, let's dig in and let's get to it. And everyone is out to help, right? Collaboration is obviously huge, but if you need help, ask anybody. You can ask, you know, from a VP to you know, someone sitting right next to you. It doesn't matter. Just ask for the help, and they're gonna, if they can't provide the help, we're gonna go find the answers for you and kind of give you that help. So I think the Veeam family has really, you know, done a lot. And Veeam, I know we're doing even more to kind of make it more fun, make it better here, right? Having snacks in the break room and getting a better coffee machine and like all that kind of stuff is stuff that we are continuing to improve on.
Right.
But family is something that you can't buy or make. Family is because of the people that you hire and the people that you put in the seats. And I think that we've done a really, really good job at going out and getting that great talent to keep that whole Veeam family going.
So you brought up an interesting point about the family. So those of us who study workplace culture, we actually call it a clan mentality. So you guys are really like competitive within each other, you know, pushing that bar, you know, encouraging each other to be better, do better. Yeah. But anybody come from outside and you want to attack the clan, no, sir. So that's fantastic. And those teams tend to be the most productive, and they tend to be the most cost effective long term. So there you go. Yeah. Didn't know that. All right. So you guys mentioned a little bit about developing. So let's talk a little bit about that. What is it that I've loved hearing about the development that Veeam does, but what is it? Is there anything that has really stood out to you in particular that was great for your personal development?
Yeah, so last year we actually both went to a training in Boston with the CEO and founder of Leading Women, and she really taught us how to think as a female in this industry. You are very, sometimes you are taught, you know, show your personalities, do this, do that, but really you need to understand the strategic, the business, and the financial acumen of what's going on, and really taught us to think in those different ways and to think into the numbers and, you know, tag all the great stuff that we already have and put that down and think more like a CEO versus thinking like an individual contributor. And I think that has been great for our careers, and really like light bulbs. Like the whole time we were in that training, it was like boom, 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 all these light bulbs going off, and just knowing that, oh, I already had this in me. It just took someone to pull it out. And now as a leader, I get to pull it out. And not just in females, in males as well. I get to help pull that out now that I could pull it out of myself based off of that training that Veeam sent us to. So I think that was huge.
That's huge. What about you?
I mean, to piggyback off of Ashley, I mean, Veeam put in an exorbitant amount of money, not exorbitant, but you know what I mean, like put in a lot of money for this specific training for its leaders. And I think that when a company puts in, you know, a financial investment. Yes, a financial investment in their people, it really makes you feel like you are a part of something and on the cusp of greatness. But you know, for me, I think for my biggest development has been, and I know I mentioned it earlier in this process, is that we have our VPs that give us an open door policy, no matter who you are, and that has helped me out immensely. Having those larger, bigger picture, strategic conversations, understanding, you know, the numbers behind something. I mean, I am very detailed. So I can go on and on and on about something, but in order to kind of see maybe the bigger picture, I was missing some of the numbers. I was missing some of the, what percentage of growth, where did you make this impact, and how did you impact your own business? And so it took me, you know, having those conversations with somebody like that, especially someone that's like numbers driven, like a VP would be, but to bring that back to my team and make sure that I'm holding people accountable in the right ways. So that's been, you know, instrumental in my growth here.
You know what, you've mentioned this before, and you have mentioned this before, but I love that they're taking the time to do that with you. Right. Because, I mean, not only does that help you develop, but it helps you develop the team as well below you. So that is fantastic, and that's a good sign of leadership. Absolutely. All right, so what is it that your direct bosses, your direct managers are doing to keep you motivated, happy, and engaged?
Challenging. They bring challenges. I recently just moved over, so I used to run our inside channel, and one day they decided, hey, Ashley, we want you to run the inside enterprise team. And I was like, but giving those brand new, you know, things that outside of my comfort zone, right? Your comfort zone is this big. Right. And there's so many opportunities outside it. And if someone doesn't push you to go out that comfort zone, you're never going to do it. And I was very comfortable in what I was doing, and I loved my job. I loved what I was doing. I loved my team. I loved everything about it. Right. But when I got asked to push that comfort zone, and it was not an easy decision for me. Like, I went home, I went over to my brother's house, I called my mom, I called my father-in-law, I called everyone. I was like, what should I do? And they're like, you'd be stupid not to take this opportunity. Right. And it's totally true. And now my new boss, who is really a mentor, I know your boss isn't supposed to be your mentor, but you know what I mean? It's kind of inevitable, right?
Right.
So it's just, he challenges, but at the same time, let's run the own business. Like, run the business, see how it's going, come up with your strategies, and then we'll kind of talk about it together. Like, we'll get through it, we'll learn through it, which I think is very good. And it's very, like, you run this business. As long as we hit these numbers, you can continue to run this business. And I won't get too far into it if not needed, if we're seeing the successes of it, right? Which I think is a very, you know, it keeps the morale up. It keeps it like, we're not getting hound on, like, let me hound on my team, right? Yeah. We don't need you coming, like, don't skip level, right? There's not very much skip level going on at Veeam, which I think is very helpful when it comes to keeping the morale up and working with the team. And, you know, we've got a great rapport and a great relationship, and, you know, he brings a new challenge every single day, and I think that that's a huge, I like a challenge. I didn't know I liked them back in the day, but I do. You learn that you like them.
Fantastic. Well, if you didn't like them, you'd be at the wrong place.
This is very true.
What about you, Stephanie?
The projects. Veeam leadership has been really, really good at identifying and delegating projects to people that want them. If you want something that's a little bit outside of your realm, then they'll, you know, identify, hey, you know, you'd be really good at X. And for me, I love finding like little ways to motivate our entire sales team, not just my own team, but end of the quarter push. Like that end of quarter, and if you're in sales, end of quarter is so stressful, but having some of those like just fun things in the office, like games and, you know, some internal competitions and things like that to really keep up people's spirits. I love planning that kind
and
of thing.
And she's so good at it. Like,
anytime
a party needs to be planned or we need some morale boost, it's like, Steph.
It's true.
Where is she?
I planned a human foosball table out here in the parking lot.
Yes, you missed it.
It is. It was about 20 feet long, but everyone holds on to like the foosball pole and they run back and forth and try to kick a soccer ball in. And there are bruises, but we had a really good time. So
okay, HR is like looking the other way.
They were off that day.
Hey. Yeah.
Awesome.
Waivers are great.
So let me ask you guys this. You guys are now in a position to hire, correct? Mm-hmm. So tell me, what is it that stands out to you? Because you guys have a very interesting, fantastic, but interesting culture. So what is it that stands out to you?
Personality, 100%. I am a very firm believer on hiring personalities that are going to fit within your team. Not that every personality needs to be the same, but I could teach a lot of things. I can't teach someone a personality. That's something that your mama taught you that, right? Like, I can't really but I can teach and train and coach to a lot of the things and how to sell our products and, you know, how to have the conversations with the partners, how to have conversations with the end users and our alliance partners. We can teach all of those things if you have the right skills. Obviously, now that I'm in the enterprise space, there definitely needs to be a little bit more than personality. You need to know how to have that solution sell and like that kind of stuff. But still, personality is going to get you very far when it comes to interviewing because it needs to mesh. It needs to fit. I need to know that, you know, if I leave tomorrow to, you know, go travel to Chicago or do something like that, that all the personalities are working, the team is working together, and, you know, everybody's getting along and helping each other. If you don't have a helpful personality and you're not a team player, odds are I'm not going to hire you.
Absolutely. All right. What about you?
Being prepared. Because you can bring so many different things to the table if you're coming out for an interview. So if you're prepared and you know exactly what you're going for, you can spin any kind of situation. No matter if you come from the IT industry or if you are just breaking out, you can spin your past into something that's going to be worthwhile here. So as long as you do the necessary research on that, and you're not just like, hey, you know, here's all the things that I'm great at. I can kick a soccer ball, good for your foosball, but it's you know, just it's knowing who you're going into. It's doing the necessary like Google searches and looking at, you know, not just like the website, but going in and looking at LinkedIn and using all of your resources, because that's a big thing about working here at Veeam. You have to know we have so many different resources that if you don't know how to actually leverage resources, then, you know, that's not going to be a fit.
That's fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, you guys, I think you already know I'm a fan. So I think that you guys are fantastic. But thank you guys so much for being on the show. You guys are you are rock stars. You are definite definitions of rock stars.
Thank you. You are too.
Thank you.
It's true. After we went to your luncheon, she was like, I want her to be my mentor too. I wonder
how do I get mad?
I was like, I bet she's got like a list.
I have like a mad girl crush.
We're all like, Amanda, take us.
Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of the Millennial Rockstar Podcast. If you are looking for even more information on millennials and some free resources, visit my website at amandahammett.com. The link is below. It's amandahammett.com. There you can download a free millennial employee engagement guide that will give you all kinds of tips and tricks on how to keep those millennials engaged on a day-to-day basis. Because we all know that millennials who are happy at work are more productive at work.